So what do I mean by alignment? I've become aware that with the Enlightenment Summit and the Enlightenment event coming up next year, with the tagline, revealing your aligned expression, I thought it might be kind of helpful to talk about what do I even mean by alignment. And I guess it's something that's really important to me generally and became increasingly important through this awakening and enlightenment journey, especially when Sarah and I wrote the complete book of awakening. And we really focused on being consistent and in alignment with what we meant by different words. Because part of my confusion, I think, during the journey was the fact that different people would use words differently, but I didn't know to ask that or check that. So I thought, well, wouldn't it be a good idea for this to actually get clear on what I mean by alignment and share that with you, so that if that resonates for you, then you know that what I'm talking about and what I've created this summit and event for is the thing that you're looking for. And in fact, there was somebody on Facebook the other day was asking about what does suffering mean? You know, what do you mean by that? What's going on with that? And in my response, I'd said, well, it means misalignment in some way. And they'd said, well, what do you mean? I'm glancing down because I've got the response here, because I thought it might be kind of helpful to bring that into this conversation. Yeah, what do you mean by misalignment? And so everything that I'm going to say in this, what I wrote in this response to him, the opposite, of course, is alignment. So in response to what do you mean by misalignment, I said, speaking and doing things that don't quite feel like us. Things that are to please another or to please an idea of us that we think we have to live up to, or being in resistant avoidance of something we think will negatively impact us, rather than being ourselves, being our natural, aligned expression of who we came here to be. So to flip that into what is alignment, it is that natural, free, clear expression. It's an absence of resistance. Probably you could just say those three words and that's the same thing. An absence of resistance, an inclusion of all of experience and all of what's happening, absent of the resistance of a human system that in the past has been conditioned to resist. It's been conditioned into this is acceptable, this is not acceptable. Do this, you'll get love. Do this, you won't get love. And as a child and a growing young person, we absorbed all of that and went, ooh, right, okay. Who I naturally am is not okay. So instead, I'm going to be like this and I'm going to not be like that in order to please these people out here. Because it seems that when I do that, then they hug me, then they include me, then they let me stay in their company, then they feed me, then they give me a bed, then they, well, probably in a child's eyes, then they buy me toys, then they, all the stuff. And so we've grown up believing that that how we naturally are is not okay, that a lot of our natural emotions are not okay. And so we've lived in resistance to so much experience. And we've lived in I'm going to use a phrase that we've been using a lot in the Wildfig community recently. We've lived a lot in the belonging to others' ideas, either that have been collected within ourselves or that actually are being expressed by others out there in the world. Rather than just checking in with myself, what's good and aligned for me right now, we're always checking, well, what do they want? What will be acceptable to them? Will they still include me if I go down this path or do that thing or say this thing? And all of that vigilance and all of that outside checking stops us being in connection with ourselves. Understandably, because when we were little, if we didn't check with the big people and do the stuff that kept them happy, we got in trouble. We got sent to our rooms. We maybe even got hit. We'd have got shouted at. And we didn't like that pain. So of course the system developed strategies to avoid those experiences. But now, if you're even vaguely listening to this video, it's because your system is saying, we're done. We are done with following those childhood strategies. We are done with, excuse me, the limitation of our experience on behalf of all these other old ideas. We want those to be released. We want this resistance to be dropped from our experience. Because what we really want is the feeling of alignment. What we really want is the feeling of being ourselves. Think of it. Think of that. When you say, oh, it was so nice, I could just be myself. That's being yourself in all the ways. Being the truth of who you are, which you always are, but knowingly being that really helps. That's the awakening part. And then being yourself as this expression in life, that feels beautiful too. Being who I am as a human, that I'm here to be, rather than being the human that I think other people want me to be, so that they like me, so that they include me, so that they make me part of their gang, so that that doesn't feel good. So alignment, the absence of resistance. And if you're like me, you'll notice that resistance can't just be dropped like that. If we could just drop resistance, we'd have done that years ago. And so the point of this Enlightenment Summit and the ongoing Deeper Dive event are to support your system releasing this resistance. You can't just go, oh, that's fine, I'll just drop. Yeah, I'll just drop that resistance. No worries, that's totally fine. That's gone, good. I'm in alignment now. The whole purpose of this journey we're going on through the summit and through the event is to support your system to recognize its safety in being with these experiences that have been resisted for so long, and therefore not being in resistance anymore, switching into inclusion, switching into alignment, revealing what is already there. We're not adding stuff in here. We're releasing that resistance so that who you already are, that natural expression, gets revealed and gets experienced more in the world. So if that sounds good for you, I would so love to meet you at the Enlightenment Summit and the event. If you want to dive deeper with us and really, really get into that resistance releasing process to reveal your aligned expression, I would so love to see you there. Details are in the comments, in the description, in the email, wherever it is you're watching this video from. I look forward to seeing you there. Lots of love.